So I'm Amy Gurley. I love dark romance. I'm always reading my spicy books and my whatever memoirs. I'm obsessed with memoirs. I have like over 50. I love to make people laugh, hype people up, and be really supportive and a really fun, positive space for people to come and just have fun over here.
My name is Casey, and I'm the host of Love Letters and Books, a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. I am so excited to sit down today and have a great conversation with Amy, who is one of my favorite creators on social media. I often say that Amy is my first laugh of the day every single day. We're going to discuss all things dark romance, including our favorite books, our favorite authors, and why these communities and spaces mean so much to us. We're also going to touch on the importance of fiction in healing trauma. Amy is always really generous with her time and energy in sharing how people can start their journey as ARC readers, alpha readers, beta readers, or on street teams. So this episode is full of information for anyone who's curious about how to get started in those spaces, and maybe also shedding some light on the things that are holding us back, the things that prevent us from taking up space or doing the things that we love. And make sure to stick around to the end because Amy is going to read us a love letter that she wrote to her younger self. Amy, I am so glad that you're here with us today. Welcome to the Love Letters and Books podcast.
Thank you. And I'm really excited about being here.
So before we begin talking about anything else today, I have to point out that Shantel Tessier is one of our favorite authors. It's something that you and I definitely have in common. And I need to know something really important. I need to hear one of your theories about her upcoming book, Chaotic. I know you have a ton of theories, as do I. So can you just share one of them with us?
Oh my God. Okay. This is a new one. I don't think that BMW girl, I don't think she's alive. I know a lot of people theorizing maybe she's connected, like she's maybe Cathedral Girl, maybe she's all these girls, and she's going to be the FMC. I don't think so. When this detective came to Lord, he was like, hey, like, this is my sister. He showed this picture of this girl, and she had been, like, unalived and stuff. It was, like, horrific. And this was, like, the last person seen with her. And that's how it was connected to Adam. That's been the only person that's ever been connected. And we know that she's not alive. So I think that BMW girl, I think that was that missing girl that was connecting to Adam. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know.
I'm so excited about this. I
Yeah.
can't wait till we get sort of like a sprinkle of a hint of anything that's real
I
that is
know,
going
me
on.
too.
I know. I almost had to stop reading the theories though, because I was like overwhelmed with the possibilities.
Yeah. I haven't done as many theories this time. I've really got to get back into it. I have a whole notebook. Like, I have multiple notebooks of all my theories throughout, like Carnage, Madness, and now Chaotic. It's very chaotic. My new notes are. I have went all over the place. I have then went into like the FMC being Nicole, who was a missing girl from the Seven Deadly Sins, all kinds of.
Well, that kind of brings us to where you started in your own journey. So I would love to just open up this podcast and hear about you entering this online book space. Obviously, we've all read our entire lives, but when did you dive in and think, oh no, I want to set up my own platform and I want to talk to people about it?
With Carnage, I was always like watching Book Talk, and I wanted to join so bad, but I was absolutely terrified. I couldn't do it. I kept trying. Like, I was telling my sister for like 2 years, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm like, I can't. And I kept seeing my friend Ashley doing these theories, and I was like, I want to do this. So I started taking notes. And then one day I was like, I'm going to do my theory and guess who Carnage is. And so my daughter had to help me because I was green screening something. I don't know how to do stuff. I always joke and say I'm old, so I don't know how to do things. So
Amy, I swear I'm older. So be gentle.
No. So she helped me, and she's like, Mom, you just got to post it. People are going to love you. Just be you. And so I posted. It was like September the 29th of 2023. It was my very first post on Book Talk, and it was guessing who Carnage was. And I guessed wrong. But
who was your original guess? What was your original theory?
Hayden.
Well, that leads me into Amy. You are my first laugh every single morning when I open TikTok. Your post is the first post in my feed, and it is without fail a Hayden post. So
Yep.
take us on the journey. How did this start? Where did the Hayden obsession begin?
I started, like, being obsessed with him just a tiny little bit that we knew about him, because you hear a little bit about them in the center. So, I was like, "Oh, I like him." Just, like, the way he looked, everything. I was like, "I know." And then, like, I just kinda spiraled, get more and more, and then meeting him in Carnage, I was like, "Oh, just absolute favorite." And so I started posting every single day a Hayden video, like, trying to get into Carnage to get Hayden. I have posted over 500 days straight.
I love
And
that.
then, like, with Madness being his book, oh, that, like, made my whole everything, finding that out, because we got to find out a really cool way, like the street team did. So I got this little card. I opened it and it told me, and, like, I recorded my reaction. I freaked out. I was, like, shaking. I was, like, in tears about this. This was actually going to be my man's book.
And then when you found out that it's like an 800-page book and we just get a million scenes and we get all the internal workings of your favorite character. No, that was incredible. So, what was it like when you read that book? Was it everything you'd hoped for and more?
I was a wreck. I was so emotional the whole time. I was constantly sending Shantel voice memos, like, just, like, freaking out about stuff, being so, like, so emotional. I recorded my reactions as I was reading and stuff. It was everything. I have never read a book that hooked me as much as Madness. Like, just everything about it. I just love Hayden. I love, like, how sweet he is. There's just so much to him. It really is a very emotional book with what he goes through, so
I think people are surprised. There's so much plot, there's so
yeah.
much going on, there's so much of that inner thought
Yes,
process that we
slogan.
finally get shared, right? No, I felt the same. I read it in 24 hours, which is a little strange, but I kind of put life on pause and
A
just
lot of
dove
people did.
in. A lot of people did, right? It was so
Yeah.
good. Well, same is going to happen with Chaotic, but
Yeah.
let's take a step back because you talked about being on a street team. For anyone listening, some people might be familiar with it, but can you tell us a little bit about that, how you got involved, what that looks like for you?
Yes. So a street team it's like a hype team for an author. Like, you apply for it. A lot of people think, like, you have to have a big following or been on the platform for a long time. You do not. Anyone can apply. When I got on Chantel's, I didn't even have 1,000 followers. I got on one other street team before Chantel's, which is Ames MIlls. I had even less. It's a lot of fun being on street teams. Like, we post, we get to know stuff before people. We will get cover reveals beforehand. Like I said, like with Shantel, she did a cool way to let us know who the book was, like send us a card. And you get little street team perks. Some street teams, like Kinsley Kincaid, who is one of my all-time favorite authors, for her street team, she let us buy her signing exclusives because a lot of people can't attend signings. So you get like perks and stuff because you're really helping out an author by spreading around, just because you already love their book. You're not really doing anything different. I mean, you're still always hyping them up. So I really love being on street teams. I'm on quite a few, but
Name
love it.
some. Tell us about some of the books and the authors you're interested in.
I'm on Chantel's, Kinsley's, K.M. Baker, love her. I'm on Alexandra St Pierre's, that's whose book is right there. I'm on Leigh Rivers' street team, Ames MIlls. Ames has a pen name, which is Callie Noir, so I'm on hers as well. I really love it. They're all really sweet and amazing authors, and I love to just support them and let everybody know how much I love them.
So, when you think about the day before you started posting, would you have ever imagined that in a short period of time you would be connected to your favorite authors, kind of getting these perks, these previews, doing all of this stuff that people would seek out your videos and feel like, "Oh no, this is the girl who's going to talk about this in the way that I love." Did any of that occur to you? Was that a big surprise?
I never thought that would be a thing, ever, not in a million years at all. I barely even knew, like, what an arc was. I had no clue, and then I figured out, like, what a street team was, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is fun," and then I didn't think I would, and the thing is you don't always get a yes. You can get no's. It doesn't feel good to get a no. That's not a good feeling for nobody, but try again. That's what I do. I mean, I've gotten told no. Last year I got told no. This year I reapplied for the team. I got a yes. So don't give up if you do get a no. This is the main thing. That fear will prevent you from even trying. Just go for it, you know?
A huge lesson in life in general, but definitely in this space as well. Because when you think
Yeah.
about being nervous to even post or sort of enter a space and it's something you love and you're kind of walking into it with effusive joy, you bring so much joy, so much levity, so much laughter to this space. And I think, I mean, I really appreciate it. I know all of your followers do. Tell us a little bit more. Are you doing ARC reading? Are you doing the advanced listener copy? Like, are you doing anything else in this space?
I read a lot of ARCs. Other than just like your street teams, you get ARCs, but I sign up for ARCs when other authors will post. You can go through agencies to get ARCs. So I sign up a good bit through like agencies and things. I only alpha read for Kinsley. I've never alpha read for anyone else, but I've alpha read a few of her books, which is like, you are reading as they're writing. So like you get a little chapter, and so you're with them the whole process of it. I really do love ARC reading, but don't overdo the ARCs. That's a big piece of advice I'd like to give people is don't overdo it, because you'll get so overwhelmed with how many you get that you'll get burnt out, like easy. Don't do that. I learned my lesson.
Following along the creative process with someone whose books you love, that's basically my dream. So, in your ARC reading and all of this and street teams, is there an indie author that you absolutely love that you think everyone should know about?
Yes, Kinsley Kincaid. I love her books. She's an incredible person, a really, really sweet human, just in general. And one of my all-time favorite books is Ghost Stick. It's my first real taboo book. Addicted ever since. I have so many of her. I have five, I think 5 covers of Ghost Stick. I have all of them that ever exist, plus multiple of all of her other books. I love her covers of her books and stuff, so I have them.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. So let's learn more about what you like. Talk to me about your favorite FMCs. Who are some of the ones that you just adored?
My all-time favorite is Charlotte.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Slice of
Charlotte
Life.
from Shantel Tessier's
Yes.
Madness.
She's so tough. I like a badass FMC. I like her to be feisty. I like her to give them a hard time. She gave Hayden a hard time. She was just gonna let him, boss her around kind of like. She was very feisty. She was very protective of him. Like when it came to Ashton, she wasn't having that. And I love that. Because I
Yeah.
feel like she was very possessive over him. And I appreciated that because I felt like she was me a lot. She was very much my personality, was how feisty and fun. So I love her because of that. She's my favorite ever. I don't think anyone could ever top her for
Yeah,
me.
I think she's up there on the list, definitely the top. I love how she was written. I feel like sometimes some of the critiques in all books in general is that women aren't given these multidimensional personalities. Like we're not seen in all of our flaws and all the different shapes our personalities can take. I loved her. I thought she was great. And I did love
Yeah.
that she was protective and possessive over him. I thought it was the funniest
Yeah.
thing. You know who else I love? Lakin from The
Oh,
Sacrifice.
yeah.
She was so petty and obsessive, and I just loved it.
I
Um,
love dating.
she was great. When she bought the car and stole his credit card, I feel like it was just one of
Yes.
those things all the girlies were like, "Yes, this is our girl." And she was a trooper because she was going through hell the entire time, and she was just
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna make the best of it. We're just moving forward." So
They got through it in the books now.
they do. They go through a lot in those books. It's so interesting. There's a lot of controversy around those books. Ashton is probably one of the most controversial
Yeah.
characters ever written. You see posts all the time in all of sort of the Facebook groups and stuff, and people will say, "Oh my God, she was the worst character." And other people will say, "I don't know. She didn't bother me that much. I kind of get it." Where are you in your Ashton journey, Amy?
I liked Ashton in Carnage. She got on my nerves in Madness, but I'm really glad that Chantel made it very clear that Hayden is for Charlotte. Hayden is not about Ashton. I know a lot of people are always like, "Oh, we won't hurt." No, no. That is no. I really loved how, like, it was made very clear,
Yeah.
this man does not want that girl. She got on my nerves with just crossing, like, boundaries, like, she should have been a little more respectful, because, I mean, you are married. You're married to Saint, you're pregnant, leave that man alone. Like,
She was like, "Absolutely not."
no, she was just sad, like, "Girl, go away." And, like, I love, like, Charlotte making it very clear, "This is my man."
Yeah, one thing that I thought was really interesting was, like, she'd had this life with no boundaries. She'd had this life with
Mhm.
no female friends other than, like, Whitney, who's probably the worst demonic character in the
Yes.
entire universe, and I was like, I think she is there showing us what it's like when you're being awkward at developing female friendships, and you have no idea how to do it, and you're gonna do it horribly wrong multiple
Mhm.
times,
Yeah.
but you have to keep going, and I almost wonder if she has, like, a redemption arc in Chaotic and some of the next books because we're gonna meet our other spades, and we're gonna learn about their lives, so who knows how she's gonna pop up.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I am so curious. I feel like I need the day when we find out the MMC, but I'm gonna wait patiently, and we will find out
Yeah.
in due time. So, let's talk more about this book space and dark romance in general, because, again, much like Ashton, it's kind of controversial, right? People have big
Mhm.
opinions about it.
Yeah.
We had this great pre-production call, and I think I shared with you that I look at it kind of differently. I think that these book spaces are really helpful and healthy and fun and a good outlet. But what do you think about people just seeing it in such a negative light? Like, first of all, women reading, women enjoying reading,
Yeah, I know.
right? Learning about different things, aligning with different characters. What do you think about all of that?
When I first joined Book Talk, it is different than the Book Talk now. Like, it has changed a lot, but I feel like you can make the space what you want to make the space. I do not fight with people on there. I'm too old for that. And I like to just keep it positive and fun and make people laugh because this world is a very dark place. And if I can, like, make someone laugh that day, that's what it is for me. It's like an outlet for me to go and to just have fun, tell people about these books I love, and just be me and make people laugh. And I like a very positive space to be that, you know? There are books I don't like. I don't feel good talking about them because what's not for me might be for you and vice versa. So I just personally, there are authors that I don't support, things like that. Like, it's okay. Like, you don't have to love everyone. You don't have to love every book. And that's just how I am personally.
I love what you said. It's sort of what you create, and it's not saying that you can't look deeper into books or deeper into authors. It's about where you spend your energy, what you focus on, what you're trying to cultivate and create. And I think in our pre production call, I told you that earlier this year, I was having a lot of health issues, and it just, you get into that headspace where you're just doom and gloom. I was thinking, I was like, this is gonna be the worst year of my life. And I don't know, it had kind of like taken over energetically. And I was laying in bed one night and I opened TikTok and you made a post that was like the funniest thing I have ever seen in my life. And I was like snorting out liquid out of my nose. Like I couldn't even contain it. My partner was in the other room and he hadn't heard me laugh in so long. He's like, "What are you laughing about?" And I showed him your video. He's like, "That's hysterical." And I was like, you know what? That's what this space is. Like, you honestly just reminded me, like, life is funny. You're going to get over this. You're going to laugh. It's okay. And it was sort of that like release. And it's so interesting because you never know when you're creating, when you're putting things out
Mhm.
there, when you're kind of taking up space, whether online or in real life, what you're doing, the impact you have on people, right? Like you have no idea. And you're just kind of putting that out there.
I never really realized it or thought about it until TikTok got banned that little bit of time. I had people, like, message me on Instagram and just being appreciative of me always being kind to them and treating them like a person. There was someone we've been mutuals for a while, and she was like, "I really do appreciate that you've always treated me like just a person and not just like someone, like, with a disability. You didn't treat me no different than anyone else." And, like,
Mhm.
she appreciated that so much, and that, like, made me feel good because I love to hype people up. I love to just support everyone, and, like, I'm always in your comments like, comment sections, hyping you up, sharing people's stuff. telling people to follow people, because that's to me what book talk is, a community. Like, you
Mhm.
build your community, you make these amazing friends, these connections, and that's what I love about it, is making friends and making people laugh. That's me, who I am. Like, I'm just a goofy person in general. I just get on there, I say whatever, and I hit post. I don't edit, I don't do none of that.
And it kind of just comes out and flows. So,
Yeah.
thinking about creating a greater community, because one of the things that we talked about was, I'll be honest, I don't have people in my life who are into books, into reading, into any of this stuff. And so it can almost feel a little isolating because you read a book, you fall into this world, you're so excited, you kind of just want to chat with someone about it, right? Like, we could talk for 6 hours about chaotic theories, and I think you and I would
Yeah.
be fine, and we
Yeah.
barely know each other, but we would be able to do that. But talking about kind of expanding your world a little bit. One, there's expanding your world by reading and like entry into all these spaces that are created, just these great stories that we wouldn't normally be exposed to. And then it's
Mhm.
about connecting with all the other women, all the other people in this space who you may not cross paths with in real life, but you have this connection. So, how has that shifted for you in basically, I'm thinking like the 2-ish years that you've created your platform?
It's helped me a lot to have this, because, like, I don't have anything that's just, like, for me. I've always been a stay-at-home mom. My kids are 23 and my son's about to be 22. He still lives at home. He's on the spectrum. I'm with him 24/7, so it's always us. I never did anything for myself. I never went on trips. I never bought myself things. Like, I very much just, not that I couldn't, but, like, I don't know. I always say it's like mom guilt or something. I don't know. It's like a weird kind of thing, but I never did. And then when I joined and I started making friends, this is mine. No one else has this. This is just for me. So I started buying books for myself. I started going to book signings. I flew for the first time. It's been everything for me to have this and to make these friends and have these people to talk to, because I don't have like friends in real life. I have my sisters, but like I don't have like actual friends I go and do things with. So like it means a lot to me to have that and to get to go and meet them and hang out. That's helped me so much to have the space for myself. For my own mental health, it's been amazing. It's helped me more than anything's ever helped me.
Let's talk about that for a second because I could write a whole dissertation on how fiction and reading and all of this stuff has had such a huge impact on mental health, aside from just like the levity and like
Yeah.
being in a space where people are making jokes and you get to hear about it. I always tell people that I read a book when I was like 19 and it's called She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb, and it changed my entire life. And again, it's fiction, it's a story, it's not real. And people assume, like, if it's not a self help book, if it's not a therapist, if it's not a clinician, how could it positively have an impact on you? And here we are talking about this. I have to tell you, one of the best things that ever happened for my mental health was just doing a deep dive into the books I love, the worlds I love. And it's not just about passively enjoying the story, it's about seeing qualities in the characters and how they navigate things and being able to sort of exercise your demons or try something on for size that you wouldn't be able to do in real life, but to have that experience and have that fun. I think it's so positive and so helpful. And that's why I think it's kind of alarming when there's this negative pushback against books and book spaces and women reading and all of this, because I find it liberating, but also connecting, right? Like here you and I
Yeah.
are, right?
Mhm.
Like I found your Carnage theories like 2 years ago, loved you, was like, she's the funniest person on earth. And when I was creating this platform, I was like, I absolutely have to have her on here. Like, you have to be one of my first guests.
Yeah.
I just think about that, like how it's connecting versus isolating, and how I don't know, I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but like how people are so comfortable with women being isolated or women not having things for themselves, and just how freeing it is to have that. Like I look on some of the Facebook groups for books and authors that I'm a part of, and I see that so often. People talking about like, this opened my mind to this, or I'd never heard of this, or I'm interested in this, or I don't know how to bring this up with my partner. And it's so funny how in these spaces, when we're able to come together and kind of just like hype each other up and cheer each other on and share experiences.
It really does help a lot with finding your voice and speaking to your partner about, hey, like, I find this really like I'm interested in this. Like, and you
Mhm.
are having more open conversations with your partners about these things. And I think it's amazing. I love seeing like when people share their stories of, okay, well, like I read this and I was like, oh, it opened this up to my partner. And they found out things that their partner was interested in. They didn't know. And that conversation wouldn't have happened if they didn't feel comfortable with that, and reading these books, like it really does help a lot with things like that. And it helps a lot with people's traumas.
Yes.
And like when people get so mad about dark romance and say nasty things, I'm like, that is horrible because it truly does help people with traumas and things. And I hate the hate that dark romance gets. It drives me crazy because it does not deserve any hate. Let
Mm.
people read what we want to read. Like, mind your business, mind yourself, like
Keep it cute and just go somewhere
it's just
else.
like, just go away. I mean, if you don't wanna read it, you don't have to read it. No one is forcing you. You don't have to judge others for what they wanna read. Go on about your life, find something better to do kinda thing. I get so worked up about the hate.
Well, you're in the right space because you said the word that is really important. You mentioned trauma. And it's
Mhm.
very funny how the world will tell us you experienced trauma and then will tell us how you can heal from it. And a little bit about my background, I used to be a psychotherapist. So I was in those spaces and I would run support groups and do all of those things. And I myself have a history with pretty severe trauma. And I can tell you these books, specifically dark romance, is so healing. It's like it almost pulls on the thread that is so like tight inside of yourself where you feel like, oh, I can't let my guard down. I have to be hyper vigilant. I have to be kind of wound. And that's my experience with trauma. That's not everyone's. And I almost feel like reading certain books, getting into these worlds, watching certain characters, it just like pulls on that thread and lets you kind of release a little bit. And I think that that's really powerful when an author, someone you don't know, right, can put words on a page and it's not this direct hit. It's not like this 10 steps to healing trauma. It's just a story. And it kind of takes you on that journey and there's healing in that, right?
That's what I love too, because I think with trauma and stuff, when you read certain things and it makes you realize like you can take that power back. Like for me personally, I was very afraid of flying, not because of planes crashing. It was more like some trauma I had with not being able to leave. If I'm in a space, I want to be able to leave. If I'm in a car and we're in a traffic jam, I can get out of my car technically. But I was thinking, if you're on a plane, I can't get off there. I can't. And it helped me a lot, like a lot of the books that I read, just overcoming things and just being like, "You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna go for it. That's mine. Like, I'm not giving that person that power over me anymore. I'm gonna get on that plane and I'm gonna be fine." And I did it. And that feeling of being able to do it was amazing. And honestly, like, these books really with a lot of these FMCs, they get their power back, and they're strong, and I love that. For me, that just means a lot to me to see these amazing, strong women who went through horrible things, and they're overcoming, and they're doing these amazing things that they didn't think they would be able to do because that was holding them back. So that for me is, like, real big in, like, dark romance. Like, that's what that means to me is seeing them find their pretty much their power back.
And how deeply offensive that is to the rest of the world that sort of
Mhm.
functions on us feeling disempowered,
Yep.
us feeling like we can't speak our truth, we can't be curious. I love how just women being curious about things can just destabilize people.
Oh my god,
It's
they,
just
like, lose
right?
their minds
They
about
get
that.
so upset, and it's
Yeah.
very interesting, and I always say at work, so it's kind of funny to bring that up here, the only red flag is when I'm not allowed to talk about something, because
Mhm.
talking about something is pretty benign, it's not a big deal. So if me just simply asking a question or talking about something or being curious can throw you into like a tizzy, into a fit, then that says something to me, not about me, but about you. So I think that
Yeah, it
that's
does.
really interesting, right? That we're talking about it
Yeah.
and you see so many people who write about this, like this is their first experience. So I picked up my first book in this genre and my mind is blown. And I love reading about that and having people feel like they have exposure and connection to something else that is healing, right? Like, it's not the direct thing because not everyone has access to therapy, but reading books and kind of diving into those worlds can have such an impact. And so I love that we're talking about it. And, my biggest hope would be that somebody listens to this episode and doesn't feel like they're weird for wanting to pick up a book and feeling like it does have an impact on their healing. And just the idea of a beginning, middle, end, like a happily ever after, something coming to fruition at the
Mhm.
end of a book can also be so healing because you think about real life, it's just you never know, right? Like you get sidetracked or something happens or something's left unfinished. So it can be really healing to get to the end of something and feel like there's a finish.
With Madness, another reason it's such like a special book to me is so when I got the ARC for it, it was around 2 months after I'm trying to cry. I lost my nanny, who was my dad's mom, and she's who was like my mom, who raised me, who taught me to be who I am, who was my world, and it was bad. And having that and being able to jump into that world and to escape my
Mm.
real life world helped so much. Like, it felt good to just be in there, to be in madness. That's why I say reading is my escape because it does help me the most with my, like, depression and my anxiety is to just jump into a book and do that instead, than sitting here and being in my deep depression. I can go into this world and leave that world for a little while. It's amazing to me. So that's why I love reading. That's because of that.
Well, I'm glad that you shared that with us, and I'm so sorry about your loss. And I think a lot of people who do eventually listen to this can probably resonate. And it's so important to have those almost mini breaks. So, like I think one of the critiques is like, oh, you're just kind of going off into another world. It's like, yes, let me take 5 minutes to
Mhm.
relax my
Yeah.
brain before I deal with grief, before I have to wash the
Mhm.
dishes, before I have to make dinner. We're allowed these little mini vacations, this little corner in
Yeah.
your mind where you can retreat and find some healing, right? Like restore yourself a little bit
Mhm.
and then come back to life. And I think that that makes a lot of sense to me that a book coming out at that time can also be that and really kind of have that connection for you of this is arguably going to be one of the hardest times of your life, right? And it doesn't happen just in one night. Like grief is a process, it takes a
Yeah.
long time. And so to have this thing that you can kind of hold with you is so powerful and so important. I mean, I think that that's probably why I did a deep dive into reading. I think
Yeah.
I read almost 200 books last year, which lets you know I was a little depressed.
Yeah.
But
That's what I've always read. Like, I was always, like, a true crime girl, a lot of, like, psychological thrillers, and then during the pandemic, and I was on Book Talk and stuff, so I started reading, like, some little romance books, and then I discovered dark romance, and I discovered Shantel because I read her Dare series, and then it just kind of went on. In 2023, I read over 300 books, which was crazy. During the pandemic and stuff, like, it helped a lot to be able to read and escape because it was such a crazy time and, like, I was sick a lot, so I had my books. That's why I got back into reading is during that really hard time.
no, I think it's interesting how we're talking about multiple experiences of hardship and how that encouraged us both to lean into something that's actually really healing and helpful and
Mhm.
something that makes you feel good and something that's just yours, something that you can kind of dive into. And I think that that's the important message that I wish more people knew about. And I think, I mean, not to get too deep, but I almost wish like a lot of people had that, whatever it was for them, whether it's books or something else, but they felt like they had the freedom to do something restorative just for them, just to be self soothing instead of sort of that lashing out or that muscling through. And so when I kind of see those critiques about like, oh, these books are silly or they're ridiculous, or can you imagine the people who read them? And I'm just like, yeah, that's me. Sorry, I
Yeah.
need a little break from my life. Like my life
Mhm.
is very high stress, or when you're navigating something or going through periods of grief, it's like, yeah, you're allowed to feel good and you're allowed to do something that interests you and you're allowed to talk about it. So that's almost why I wanted to start this podcast and kind of encourage people to have these conversations, to feel comfortable in their own skin, to feel like you're allowed to do whatever you want to do in your free time. And if this is something that you love, it's something you love. I made a post last week where I was like, my favorite genre is like 80s summer camp slasher. Like, that's my favorite.
Oh,
That's my healing space, which is really dark and weird. And I was just like, well, I don't know what to tell you. That's the thing that resets my nervous system. I watched Friday the 13th the other night, the original one, and I was like, this is my happy place. So somebody could look at that and be like, that doesn't make any sense. And it's like, well, that's okay. That's what this is about. Maybe not being negative about what other people resonate with, and maybe
yeah.
paying attention to what people resonate with. So like when books like Haunting and Hunting Adeline came out, I think it was really controversial. People just thought, oh, those books are just whatever they are. And I'm like, yeah, and a lot of women have experienced sexual assault. And a lot of people resonated with the healing journey that she went on. So we can't just kind of laugh off why some books resonate with people. It's probably for a deeper reason.
That's the thing. I wish people would think more before
Mm.
they speak and just trash someone for what they read. It's like there's so many reasons that people read. You shouldn't judge people. People love what they love, and there's nothing wrong with it. I love all kinds of things. I read about anything except for sweet stuff. Sitting in front of me. That's the only thing I don't read. I'm a dark romance girl. I love my taboo romance. I love my MM romance. Like, I love erotic horror. I love it.
Amy, my gift to you is, and I don't know if you've read her, but one of my favorite authors that I discovered in the last year is Jennifer Ivey. And she has an entire series called A Killer's Love. Have you ever read it?
No, I'm gonna have to
Okay.
now.
I will email you as soon as we're done. But I'm obsessed with this series. I'm 3 books in. She has 2 more that are coming out this year, and I just love it. It's like horror, spice. It's great. It's like an 80s slasher film come to life in a book. So I will send that your way.
I love 80s slashers, so
See, I'm not embarrassed now. I'm so glad I mentioned it. But um, let's kind of switch a little bit. And I almost want you to talk directly to that person listening who feels like they're not allowed to pick up a book. They're not allowed to take that time for themselves. They're not allowed to read about something that intrigues them, something they're curious about, whether it's dark romance or taboo or horror. And they just feel, whether it's shame or a block or judged. I want you to talk to that person right now. What would you say to them?
I would tell them to not to give a damn. Like, don't care what people are gonna say, what people are gonna think, because this is for you. Only you. You read what you want. You read for your reasons. If it's helping you mentally, like I said, it helps me escape. That's why I read. That's 100% why I read, is to escape. Whether it's like just real life, just the chaos of your life, the chaos of the world we live in. Have something for you. Don't neglect yourself is a big thing. I did for the majority of my life. I've never put myself before anything. I never gave myself anything or had something for me. My books are for me. That's my time. I'm going to read whatever I want, whenever I want, however long I want. If I want to read 10 hours today, okay, I'll do it. If I want to read 5 minutes, I will. Just really don't give a damn and don't let people get to you, because people are going to have opinions. Everybody has them. Don't pay them no attention. Have something for you, because reading really will help you a lot with a lot of things in your life. It has me. I have a lot of people. I have a lot of friends who it's helped them more than anything.
And that's what I'm hearing you say. It's about feeling like you're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to have a personality. You're allowed to have wants. You're allowed to like certain things, and you don't have to be anyone else. You're created perfectly as you. And if this is something you like, it's not harming anyone. It's a book. You're allowed to enjoy it.
Yeah, you're not doing anything to anybody.
Right. In reality, I'm laying on my couch and I'm reading a book with my cat, and I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not lashing out. I'm not doing anything to like undermine myself. Like, I'm just in a story. And by the end of it, I'm going to feel so much more recharged when I come back. So I love that you're sharing that message. And I'm almost picturing someone hearing you say that and feeling like, okay, I can do that. I can take something for myself. That's totally fine.
And when someone has something negative to say, I always think, imagine you don't like me and I'm just over here in my moment reading a book.
I know.
Like, think of how bizarre that sounds.
And it's so important to talk about that, to kind of reframe it, right? Like, I'm literally sitting in my backyard, not hurting anyone, and I'm reading my book.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing I did today, and you're offended by it. I'm actually jealous of you because your life sounds pretty great. If that can
Yeah,
be the thing that makes you upset, then that's
yeah.
wonderful.
That pushed you over the edge today, that
Like
I'm
you're
reading a
gone.
book? Like,
Yes.
you need to, like maybe you need to go read a book.
Right? Like when someone's really reactive, it kind of makes me think like, well, what's going on underneath? Like, do you feel like you don't have something that you can have for yourself? Or do you feel like you're curious about things that you haven't been able to explore? So I'm just really appreciative that you create such a positive, generous, and welcoming space because I do see you like everything from comments to the things that you post. I feel like you're constantly very organically building community and making people feel connected. And that's just an outsider's perspective. So I hope that feels good. But I watch you do that and I love it. And I think it's really powerful. And I think it's easy to say, oh, it's just social media or it's just books or it's just a bunch of women who like things. I'm like, yeah, that's life. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's our daily
it
life. And it's
is.
great. And if you create those spaces where people feel positive or connected or good about themselves, like, job well done.
That's what I always want to do, is to just make other people make them smile, because everybody needs that. Like, I'll be scrolling when I'm having a really, like, bad time, and I'll be, like, dying laughing at it. So, I always want to be that and to help people, because when I started, I had a lot of amazing people hyping me up and encouraging me to go for things, to post, to apply, to do all these things. Because if I didn't have that community, I would have never applied for teams. I wouldn't apply for ARCs. I wouldn't have ever applied to be rep for like book boxes because that was like wow to me that I was like, there's no way I would ever be able. I would make that, but I had a lot of people encouraging me to go for it. So I went for it. So it's very important to have people like that. So I always want to be that for someone because I had that. And I've made the best of friends in the world from there.
And it's even bigger than what we're just talking about here. What you're saying, like having people encourage you, having people show you the way, having people hype you up. That is really important. And it affects so many different areas of our lives. So I love that you're embodying it in this space. And I hope someone listening to this is like, oh, I'm going to apply to that street team. I'm going to apply to be an ARC reader. Like, I'm going to just do the thing I'm interested in and not be self conscious about it or not feel less than. You don't feel like you have to qualify for something. Like an important point you made was not having a huge follower count and still reaching out and signing up and putting yourself out there and kind of seeing where that took you. So I love that. I love that you're sharing that message. And I hope that this inspires someone who is intrigued in this space to take up more space or to lean into the things that they love and not feel shy about it.
Yeah, I get so nervous. Like, I still get nervous whenever I apply for things. Like, I'll almost convince myself not to. So, having people tell you, like, okay, you got to get out of your head, you got to go for it. The book box that I rep for now, I almost did not because I was so scared to apply. And my friends was like, no, do it. Just go for it. And because I got in my head that I'm older, like in the book space, like I'm 43. So I'm not young. I always do it's like I'm an older book talker. So
Amy, so am I.
and
You're hurting my feelings.
and I get in my head about like I'm older. I'm always like in my moo and I'm like this goofy person. Like what if people I don't know? What if I don't fit their aesthetic? I'll get in my head and I'm like, no. You are who you are. Be who you are. People love you for who you are and get out of your head about that. So I tell myself that all the time.
And it's an important message. What is the book box that you're repping for right now?
Real book boss, read in peace.
Amy, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And I hope everyone listening kind of takes what you're saying and feels really confident about creating spaces for themselves and taking up more space. And one of the most important parts of this podcast, very similar to my mental health podcast, Love Letters and Mixtapes, is inviting my guests to read a love letter, either to their younger self or to someone else for the audience. So, Amy, are you open to reading us a love letter this morning?
Yes. So I wrote mine to myself. Dear me, I'm writing you from 19 months in the future, and wow, it's crazy to see where we are now. I know you're scared to try. You're scared that people won't like you. You're scared to put yourself out in the world. Just know and trust you'll be okay. People are going to love you. You're going to make a difference to someone with your kindness. You're going to make people laugh. You're going to discover so many new authors, given many opportunities, and make friends who you won't ever want to live life without. You're going to smile. You're going to find yourself. You'll be happy. You'll be loved, accepted, and supported. So go for it. Post that theory. Post the review. Show everyone who you are and show them your love of moo-moos. P.S. I'm proud of us.
Oh, Amy,
Sweet.
I love that. That is so important. It is important that we reflect and kind of take a look at our younger selves and even cheer them on as just a reminder as we move forward, like, do the thing you're scared about, do the thing you're self-conscious about, put yourself out there. And you have no idea how many people in this world will love and respond to you. You're going to be shocked by it. I feel like that's one of the biggest messages
Yeah,
about,
it is. You will
right, putting
be.
yourself out there.
And you'll be so proud of yourself. I'm proud of me. And that's a good feeling to be proud of yourself, that you accomplished something you didn't think you were going to accomplish.
Amy, thank you so much for joining us today. I loved our conversation. I loved getting to know you more. Where can people find you?
My TikTok is Amy L. Gurley. My Instagram is Amy Gurley Reads Smut. And you can message me. Anyone can, anytime they want. If you have questions about being ARC reader, street teen, anything. Even if you just need your videos to be liked, commented, shared, just send them to me. Like, you can send them to me on TikTok. You can message me them on Instagram. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Love Letters and Books, a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow, rate, and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. You can find me on both Instagram and TikTok at Love Letters and Books. And if you're interested in being a guest on Love Letters and Books, suggesting your favorite author, or just want to write in an original love letter to yourself or someone else to be read on air, please send me an email at lovelettersandmixtapes@gmail.com.